Hey everybody, I'm Mike. This is a bunch of kinds of gear reviews, and you are watching The Right of the People, where we use the first to defend the second. So uncover your keyboards and fire up your fingers. It's time to join the conversation.
I'm back. I know I kind of cut through that a little prematurely, but hey, it wouldn't be this show unless I did something messed up, right? So you guys are watching and listening to in podcast format, The Right of the People, where we use the first to defend the second. As always, we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. But before we do, I would like to welcome everybody out there in the chat, because this is, in fact, a conversation. It is not just me bloviating and talking to you, although I do quite a bit of that. It is a conversation where you make comments out in the chat, and I'll talk with you about it. So if you have an opinion about what we're talking about, if you have something that is relevant to the conversation, let's make it a conversation. Sound off in the chat. If you're not live, go ahead and sound off in the comments below. But absolutely, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button, because that lets YouTube know that this is content that people just might want to watch. Out there to chat, we got Kingpin here first, Warsaw Patriot second, Krabby Turtle wishing for a great show, and Calaveras, the tactical pickle himself. Well, I'm not sure if he's wishing me to have a good show or not, but he's wishing me to have a budget quality show. And I told him I'm kind of shooting for better than that. So, yes. We got two people out there. So who's out there right now? Sound off if you're out there in the chat right now at this second. I just want to know kind of who's watching this dumpster fire burn. Speaking of fires burn, I went camping this weekend. It was cold, but it was all right. I was safely ensconced in my hammock with my underquilt and top quilt, and I was actually toasty while I was in the hammock. Warsaw is maybe out there. 2 Live Moo is out there. How you doing, sir? Glad to see ya. So yeah, camping was pretty cool. I got a couple videos. I got a video shot, and I got some material for another video I'm working on. So I should have those out relatively soonish. This week I have to try to find some time. Well, I'm going to have to make some time to edit some stuff that I shot about 6 months ago. I've been busy. So I'll get those out as soon as I can, and start putting out some content. Speaking of putting out content, let me know, folks, do you want to see more self-defense shout-outs? Because I've been thinking about doing some self-defense shout-outs and releasing them a couple times a week as some shorts. So let me know what you think. Moo says, currently working on some plumbing issues and can't find my pipe wrench. Oh, yeah, I hate that. You can't find that one tool you need desperately. When you don't need it, you're tripping over the sumbitch and dropping it on your toes and all kinds of other stuff. But when you need it, yeah, nowhere to be found. Cookies out there for the Show Me State. Hello. Glad to see ya. You're not from St. Clair, are you? Because if you are, understand that your Super 8 there is a wretched hive of scum and villainy. It's absolutely terrible. It is the most disgusting place I ever didn't stay. It was pretty wretched. That video is here on my channel somewhere, me ranting and raving about that, and Roll 219 doing nothing but giggling. Evidently he bruised a rib, sprained a rib. He laughed so hard from that video. So, yeah. That was hilarious. By the way, if anybody wants a Pooper 8 sticker, I still got some. Budget, I'm glad you didn't bring bed bugs after that place. Yeah, me too. I think Roll Call had the right idea and not even unpacking anything from the suitcase. I mean, that was just, it was filth, flarn filth on top of filth. Cookie says they're from originally from Louisiana, live in the Kansas City area now. Tulad Moo says they remember that video. Yeah, I mean, anybody that watched it, particularly if you watched it live, I don't think you'll forget that one. That was, it was the worst hotel ever. I mean, there was blood on the sheets. There were mouse turds in the drawers. The bathroom in there, I think that's where syphilis was born. It was pretty bad. And there were like crackheads skittering across the parking lot and whatnot. It was. At least they gave me the money back. That was great. Yeah. Avoid staying at a Super 8 if you are at all. Especially the one. Maybe other Super 8s are just fine. The Super 8 in St. Clair, Missouri is vile. It's foul. Yeah. Speaking of vile and foul, well, let's see. Cookie says Super 8s are a crapshoot, kind of like Motel 6. Yeah, right? Motel 6 will leave the light on for you, because if they turn the light off, the roaches take over. I mean, the Super 8 was so bad, though, that even the roaches carried knives. It was terrible. Anyhow, speaking of terrible, we have some good news, because a couple terrible things have been overturned for now. First up is this piece from, who's this from? Is this from Breitbart? Yes, it's from Breitbart by A.W.R. Hawkins from November 9th. Federal judge blocks ATF pistol brace rule, describes it as unlawful. Judge Matthew J. Kaczmarek, and I apologize if I butchered the pronunciation of your name, sir, put a preliminary injunction in place against the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives AR pistol brace rule Wednesday, describing the rule as unlawful. The ATF pistol brace rule targets stabilizer braces attached to AR pistols, claiming the braces turn AR pistols into short-barreled rifles. And since SBRs are regulated under the National Firearms Act, the ATF issued its rule on AR pistol braces to stop what it saw as a way around SBR regulations. On January 13, 2023, Breitbart News noted the ATF's pistol brace rule requires that owners of AR pistols with pistol braces attached take one of the 5 following steps. Scenario 1. Turn in the entire firearm with the attached stabilizing brace to the ATF. Number 2. Destroy the whole firearm. Number 3. Convert the short-barreled rifle into a long-barreled rifle. Number 4. Apply to register the weapon under the NFA. Or 5. Permanently remove and dispose of or alter the stabilizing brace from the firearm so that it cannot be reattached. In the case before Judge Kaczmarek, one of the plaintiffs is Gabriel Tauscher, who deployed overseas in the War on Terror, was ambushed in Minneapolis and shot 15 times, then spent 85 days in the hospital and emerged with his left arm partially disabled. He uses a stabilizer brace to help him shoot his gun and claims he will suffer irreparable harm if the ATF pistol brace rule is allowed to stand. Another plaintiff, Sean M. Kroll, noted that he owns an AR pistol which he keeps for recreation and self-defense. Kroll pointed out his pistol is not manufactured to be fired from the shoulder, so he uses a stabilizer brace because it makes the firearm safer. In his decision, Kaczmarek noted that the court is not insensitive to the ATF's concerns over gun industry gamesmanship and attempts to circumvent the rules on SBRs. But he followed that acknowledgement by quoting Bruin, noting, which is the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, a landmark case decided in 2022, noting that the government may not justify the passage and/or existence of a regulation by simply positing that the regulation promotes an important interest. Kaczmarek said that he is sympathetic to the ATF's claims that the AR pistol brace rule was intended to promote safety. However, he admonished the ATF, noting that public safety concerns must be addressed in ways that are lawful. He then concluded by pointing out that the ATF pistol brace rule is not lawful. He issued a preliminary injunction against the rule and stayed the rule in its entirety. The case is Brito v. ATF in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas. Now, there are already a couple injunctions out there against this pistol brace rule, one of which protects me. That being the one involving the Second Amendment Foundation's members, because I am a life member of the Second Amendment Foundation, and I am not affected by the rule. Same with GOA members and I believe FPC members. So now this rule protects everybody. Unfortunately, we know it's going to be appealed, and there are still going to be some legal loopholes to jump through. But for now, pistol braces are back on the menu. Cookie says you should go hang out in Uranus, Missouri. They embrace any pun you can come up with. Defense Dad says I stayed at a Motel 6 for work where the toilet in the room above me leaked on my head when I was using the toilet. Oh. Why are we seeing your analytics? I don't know. Because, now that's not my analytics. Well, I guess it is some analytics. That's the, for those of you that don't know, this is the page where you publish a live stream on YouTube. See, because I did not put the correct stuff into this to get the topics up. That's what I should have done. I did not set my XSplit broadcaster to show the correct window. See, I get, you know what, Pickle, you cursed me. This is a budget quality show, and it's what you should expect. The technical diddlies from the right of the people. It wouldn't be this show unless something was on fire, right? Amateur hour, man. Amateur hour. Thanks for pointing that out, folks. Yeah. So, yeah. I hope now everything's fine with that. Of course, right now you guys should be seeing the main screen. But we'll go back into topics here momentarily as I transition to this. Hey, you don't want to see how laws and sausage, and I would say cheese, is made. But you also don't want to see how podcasts are made unless you're into that kind of thing, because it just makes you, if you get a peek behind the curtain, you might not like what you see. But there's another piece of good news in the Second Amendment world right now, because that stupid ATF frame and receiver rule, that was struck down as well. For those who don't know, the ATF's frame and receiver rule says that something like, this right up in here, as soon as I get to it. The ATF says this is a gun. Even though it's not a gun, it hasn't been machined out, it is not complete, but they say something like this polymer 80 pistol frame is a gun and must be treated like a gun when you buy it or sell it or etc. Now, we all know that's garbage, and they know it's garbage too, I suspect. They just simply, now my camera's gone. What the hell? Cheese and sausage had my interest. Okay. Now, wait, what? Huh? Now I'm having problems with my camera. What the Bjork? It does not seem to want to be working now. Why is my camera not working? Yes, Warsaw, I'm on it. I'm checking my camera. Camera source. I do not want the integrated webcam. I want... This is ridiculous. Why is this device not available? It should be available. It is plugged in. The little green light is on. Let me Let me remove that source and then add that source back. See, now it's once my XSplit VCAM. What is the issue here? Damn it! This is starting to make me a little angry. Let me unplug it and plug it back in, right? Isn't that what the IT guys say? Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? Let's unplug it. And now let's plug it back in. I don't know why it's happening, Warsaw. This is garbage, man. It is friggin' garbage. It should be working. Why is it not working? Where's my earth-shattering kaboom, right? Because this should be freaking working. Let me try add source again. Aha! There we go. Need a software update. Yeah, I probably do. Truth be told. Device not available. What the hell? All right. We are going to go with the integrated webcam, I think. Not that I want to do that, but my webcam might be hosed. Let's remove this. And let's go with add source and go with the integrated webcam that I do not like to use because it's horrible and it looks amateur as all hell and it's just friggin' terrible. Makes me not even want to do this. Maybe not quite that bad, but it just, I don't like it. As you can see, this is a terrible, terrible camera. Defense Dad blames Biden. Yeah, you're right. That's probably Sniffy Joe's fault. They are trying to sabotage the right of the people because they don't want you to see it. Maybe I just need a new webcam. That thing is a little bit old. So I will unplug that and go with my integrated webcam. And sorry folks, it's crap. So yeah. Budget, technology, difficulties. Yes. Yes, always. Okay, so let's get back to some good news, right? We will. What was I talking about? Oh, yes, the ATF frame and receiver rule. I got distracted. Don't buy from China. Well, Cookie says at least we ain't looking up your nose, right? That's why I made sure to tilt the laptop's screen there because I do not want I don't want y'all seeing that. Hell, I don't want to see that when I look at this. But yeah, let's take a look at this. Besides Warsaw, it's pretty hard to not buy anything from China. Pretty much everything's made there anymore. We don't make anything here. Does Bruin ruling challenge SBR, SBS? Maybe. It might down the road because of the common use thing. Because one thing that the ATF, I think, didn't look at was that by opening up the free tax stamp and all the sheeple or people who complied with, yeah, I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm so used to looking there. All the people that complied with the registration amnesty period, that added about 240,000 from is the figure I heard. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm remembering. 240,000 to the NFA. So that sure sounds like common use to me, which Bruin and Heller and McDonald protect firearms in common use. So hopefully that point will be made down the road, and there will be a challenge made in the courts to the NFA, at least as far as the SBR and SBSs go, because I would really like to, be free and have the choice to own whatever I want, because I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I shouldn't be punished for the illegal actions of others. But, maybe that's a little too much to ask for, right? So, as far as this new case goes, it's pretty cool, because this strikes down the ATF's frame and receiver rule. This is from November 10th. I want to say this is The Truth About Guns by Dan Zimmerman from November 10th. Fifth Circuit panel unanimously strikes down ATF's frame and receiver rule, redefining what firearms are. Is anyone tired of winning in the courts yet? No, of course not. That's why yesterday's news of yet another Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals victory was just as sweet as the others. And yeah, I know I probably don't have my face up on this. Yeah, no, device not available. UVC camera, let's get rid of that. Remove. And y'all don't need to see my face when I'm reading this, right? Anyhow, the Fifth Circuit Court of... That is why yesterday's news of yet another Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals victory was just as sweet as the others. The latest judicial win was a ruling in Vanderstock v. Garland, the case challenging the Biden ATF's frame or receiver rule that is a non-legislative redefinition of what constitutes a firearm. The ruling by a three-judge panel was unanimous and glorious. Judge Kurt D. Engelhardt wrote, "It has long been said, correctly, that the law is the expression of legislative will. As such, the best evidence of the legislature's intent is the carefully chosen words placed purposefully into the text of a statute by our duly elected representatives. Critically, then, lawmaking power, the ability to transform policy into real-world obligations, lies solely with the legislative branch. Where an executive agency engages in what is, for all intents and purposes, lawmaking, the legislature is deprived of its primary function under our Constitution, and our citizens are robbed of their right to fair representation in government. This is especially true when the executive rule-turned-law criminalizes conduct without the say of the people who are subject to its penalties. The agency rule at issue here flouts clear statutory text and exceeds the legislatively imposed limits on agency authority in the name of public policy. Because Congress has neither authorized the expansion of firearm regulation nor permitted the criminalization of previously lawful conduct, the proposed rule constitutes unlawful agency action in direct contravention of the legislature's will." Who could have guessed that? Then there was this gem from Judge Andrew S. Oldham. The final rule is limitless. It purports to regulate any piece of metal or plastic that has been machined beyond its primordial state for fear that it might one day be turned into a gun frame, or a gun receiver. And it doesn't stop regulating the metal or plastic until it's melted back down to ooze. The Gun Control Act allows none of this. I concur in the majority's opinion holding the final rule is unlawful, and I further concur that the matter should be remanded to the district court to fashion an appropriate remedy for the plaintiffs. Here's the FPC's press release and Snoopy dance. Firearms Policy Coalition and FPC Action Foundation announced that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled in their favor, holding that portions of ATF's frame or receiver rule are unlawful in Vanderstock v. Garland. The rule will remain in effect pending the disposition of the appeal in the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit and disposition of a petition for a writ of certiorari, if such a writ is timely sought, per an August order from the Supreme Court. The opinion can be viewed at fpclegal.org. The agency rule at issue here flouts clear statutory text and exceeds the legislatively imposed limits on agency authority in the name of public policy. Well, they're going on to quote Judge Engelhardt. It says, unless and until Congress acts to expand or alter the language of the Gun Control Act, ATF must operate within the statutory text's existing limits, the court concludes. The final rule impermissibly exceeds those limits, such that ATF has essentially rewritten the law. This it cannot do, especially where criminal liability can, and according to the government's own assertions will, be broadly imposed without any congressional input whatsoever. This is yet another massive victory against ATF and a huge blow to the Biden administration's gun control agenda, said Cody J. Wisniewski, FPCAF's General Counsel and Vice President of Legal and Counsel for Plaintiffs. ATF has no authority to make law, and the Biden administration cannot circumvent Congress and the rights of the people through federal agency rulemakings, a point the Fifth Circuit just reiterated. We look forward to defending this win and to continuing to deliver additional victories to the people in the future. Plaintiffs in this case are two individuals, Tactical Machining LLC and FPC. FPCAF represents the plaintiffs alongside Mountain States Legal Foundation. So, there you have it, folks. For now, the frame and receivers rule goes bye-bye. Too bad. So sad. See ya. Saw ya. But then we also need a pro-gun full House President and Congress. Yeah, right? That would be nice. Hey, G, how you doing? Glad to see you out there. Thanks for the thumb. By the way, folks, if you're out there and you haven't hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up. That lets the algorithm know that this is content worth watching, and it really helps the channel out. And it doesn't cost you a thing, except, the energy to go and click. So please do. So what else do we have on the agenda tonight? I think, we kind of got to talk about it. You guys remember, I'm sure you do, and I'm sure you've heard others talk about this week. It was kind of, it made the rounds here. That you remember the Nashville shooting at the Covenant School, where the transgender individual, who was a biological female that says she's a male, and maybe even a black male, went into the school and shot kids and staff. Well, this entire time, this person had a manifesto out there, a bunch of notebooks with writings and whatnot that gives some motivations for this and everything. But the Nashville PD has refused to release it. And not only that, since it has been leaked, some media companies like Google have been suppressing this information. Apparently someone leaked this pictures of 3 pages, just 3 pages of this manifesto, or as Matt from Never Enough Ammo calls it, the Tranifesto, which I think is hilarious. Anyhow, only 3 pages of the Tranifesto have been released, and they've caused quite a stir. Of course, Nashville PD won't admit that this is a genuine thing because, they're mad. Apparently there's some officers that are on suspension over this leak to Steven Crowder. And I think Steven Crowder was right to publish the pictures that he got of this, because I think the public has a right to see this, particularly if the powers that be don't want the public to see it. This is from Zero Hedge by Tyler Durden from November 7th. Not at liberty to release. Nashville PD blows smoke over leaked manifesto. Following yesterday's partial leak of the Nashville Transgender School Shooters Manifesto by Steven Crowder, which contained a narrative-shattering screed targeting white cracker children, both the chief of police and the mayor flipped out. After confirming the authenticity of the writings, Metro Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell said in a statement on November 6th that he had directed the city's legal director to initiate an investigation into the leak. I've directed Wally Dietz, Metro's law director, to initiate an investigation into how these images could have been released, said O'Connell, who cited the Covenant families as part of those who were or could be harmed by the release. The investigation may involve local, state, and federal authorities. I'm deeply concerned with the safety, security, and well-being of the Covenant families and all Nashvillians who are grieving. Echoing O'Connell's rhetoric was Nashville Police Chief John Drake, who also cited the families as a reason not to release the manifesto, calling the release a total disregard for Covenant families and claiming we are not at liberty to release the journals until the courts rule. Drake also claimed that Covenant families have control of the journals. Then it goes to show their media release. Turns out, all of that's BS. Debunking all of this is journalist Nick Sorter, who took to X on Tuesday to debunk Drake's drivel. Number one, total disregard for Covenant families. The Covenant school families said in a court filing that the documents could be released after the school year ended, on or after June 8, 2023. We are not at liberty to release the journals until the courts rule. This is false. The counterparties in the litigation are literally suing for this information to be released. Nashville PD are the only ones preventing the release, as that is the only thing being demanded by the plaintiffs. The suit would be dropped if the documents were released. Covenant families have control of the journals. This is false. Metro Nashville Police have seized at least 20 journals from the shooter. Firstly, MNPD Nashville and FBI have full authority any writings, statements, or videos by the assailant. These are just more excuses to cover this up. Secondly, the families do not have control over the 20 journals. In addition to the official BS, the story was immediately censored by Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, and other woke platforms. Sean Davis tweets, or X's. I mean, what? Do we call it X's, or do we still call it tweets? I'm still going to call it tweets. Just like Clover refused to call me by Mike or MK Outdoor Journal, he continued to call me Budget. Well, I'm going to still say it tweets. Anyhow, Sean Davis tweeted, "Now we know why the corrupt FBI tried so hard to cover this up." Stephen Crowder says, "Breaking. Facebook is now censoring the Nashville manifesto." And they say, he shows a screenshot of a message from Facebook that says, "Your post may go against our community standards on violence and incitement." Let's see. Reddit Lies says Reddit admins are handing out 3-day site-wide bans to people who post the Nashville manifesto because it threatens violence or physical harm. And it's happening all across Reddit. So, and James Woods said, Stephen Crowder has done Americans a service, not just because he's published the Nashville Killers manifesto of anti-white racist hate, but more important, has exposed the stranglehold that Google, surprise, surprise, has on the truth. YouTube censorship of conservative thought, etc., etc. Let's see, YouTube censorship of conservative voices has now rendered it as worthless as Facebook. Oh, and of course, one does wonder why our own government hides information from us as well, based on politics, naturally. So, and then this article in Zero Hedge, if you haven't seen the manifesto, or Tranifesto, if you will, does have those pictures put up and published. I'm not going to read it because I don't want YouTube to throw this broadcast out. But please feel free to go to Zero Hedge and search for the Nashville Manifesto. I'm sure you'll find it there. Because, well, I did, right? Let me pull up my next topic and get that ready. So there was some debate as to whether or not these were authentic. Let's see. It's practically what public schools are teaching our kids. Hello, everyone. That bearded guy. How you doing? Police in Nashville wanted to cover up the whole shooting and blame gun owners. Police has no authority to withhold any evidence from the public. Once you do that, you might as well have a police state. That bearded guy says, Budget Outdoor Journal. Yeah. Who is that bearded guy? Is that maybe... I don't know. They have a wrench. They must have changed their name, too. So, yeah. Hi! Welcome back, that bearded guy. There's another piece on this. This is from the Tennessee Star. Sources confirm docs leaked by Crowder are authentic Covenant Killer writings. Sources in the Tennessee General Assembly who were allowed to view the Covenant Killer manifesto by the Metro Nashville Police Department have confirmed to the Tennessee Star that the documents released by Stephen Crowder on Monday morning, which he purports to be part of the Covenant Killer Audrey Elizabeth Hale's manifesto, are indeed part of the documents obtained by MNPD during the investigation and were authentically written by Hale. The independent confirmation of the manifesto comes after MNPD told the Star on Monday morning it has no idea about the documents leaked by Crowder. The Star contacted MNPD again to confirm the documents are Hale's original writings, but a spokesperson for the department said she did not know whether the documents were authentic. I think that we've got people that are trying to get to the bottom of it, the spokesman told the Star. Certainly no one. I didn't release it. No one from this office sent those photos over there. So we're just trying to substantiate what's going on and how it may have happened. MNPD seemed to indicate it is exploring the origin of the documents Crowder purports to be part of Hale's manifesto. Matt Murphy, the host of the Matt Murphy Show on Supertalk 99.7, wrote on social media that he has independently verified and confirmed the images released by Crowder are actual pages from Hale's manifesto, adding that his source has seen these very pages. So it's looking, folks, that actually is an accurate representation of it. Those are really and truly pictures of the Tranifesto. Yeah, Matt, I'm going to steal that one. That's too good not to steal. I'm going to call it the Tranifesto. Oh, okay. Mad. And YouTube made him change it. Got it. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. Doing better than I have been. I have time to be doing this again. And that is a good thing. Although I have to admit, I almost didn't do this today because I was camping last night and I didn't sleep. I don't sleep in the woods like I sleep at home. When I'm in the woods, I kind of sleep in spurts. I take naps, and then I'm up for a while, then I sleep for a while, then I'm up for a while. I mean, I was all nice and cozy and comfortable in my hammock and with my underquilt and top quilt, despite the fact that it got into the low 30s. Almost, it was just above freezing. But, I have some other people saying I need to go live on Rumble, or even just post content on Rumble. I don't know. That bearded guy says that was over a year ago. Yeah, well, it's been 8 months since I posted anything. So, yeah. It's been a while. Multi-stream. Yeah, I might look into that. But anyhow, this whole thing with trying to suppress this. Well, not trying. They have been suppressing this Tranifesto. Is just... Well, first off, it's wretched. It's deplorable. It's execrable. It's just... Well, it's just plain stupid. Speaking of stupid...
And now prepare yourself for another tale of stupidity in this episode of Moron of the Week!
First up in Moron of the Week is this piece by Dan Zimmerman from The Truth About Guns. Mistal, the Republic can't survive the invalidation of Trump's bump stock ban. Ian Millhiser brought up a terrible potential effect in this case that somehow makes everything worse. If the court strikes down the bump stock ban now, based on the legal ambiguity of the machine gun ban, it's likely that Congress will never be allowed to go back and make it clear that bump stocks are, in fact, banned. That's because of the court's disastrous ruling in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin. Bruin makes it functionally unconstitutional for Congress to ban types of guns that are in common use. If bump stocks are allowed to come back, it's likely that this court will rule that any future attempts to ban them violates the standard they invented in Bruin. A decision reinstating bump stocks would show, once again, how violently out of step the conservatives on the Supreme Court are with the rest of the country they rule over. Remember, bump stocks are a gun ban that Donald freaking Trump endorsed, and he was wrong to do it. If the court is to the right of Trump on violence, I just don't know how the Republic survives that. Indeed, for future victims of mass shootings, the Supreme Court's decisions are not survivable. We have 6 unelected conservative appointees who seem hell-bent on turning our streets, movie theaters, and music festivals into shooting galleries. I do not know how many more people have to die before the conservatives stop acting like there is a constitutional requirement for gun deaths, but I fear there is no number. As long as conservatives hold power, we will have a mass shooting epidemic. Way to fearmonger there, Eli. So, moronic Mistel, you are the first contestant in the Moron of the Week. Not to be outdone, though, is this piece. This is from Emoland by Lee Williams. It opens with a tweet from Mr. Guns and Gear showing that video that made the rounds a while back of Ute in Chicago waving around their Glocks. They're Glocks that are equipped with full auto switches, the ones that were supposedly meant to turn airsoft Glocks into full auto, but yeah, could be put on regular Glock slides.
I told you my dudes not to play. I told you it's gonna get. We don't play with no regular nigga. Brr, on my butter. We do. Don't play my slide. On folks great, it will get.
A bunch of kids having those in Chicago. More than 500 people have been shot and killed in Chicago this year. More than 2,200 have been shot and wounded. On any weekend, Chicago streets reverberate with the sound of fully automatic fire. It remains America's deadliest domestic war zone. According to one violence tracker, a Chicagoan is shot and I would suspect, yep, that's heyjackass.com. A Chicagoan is shot every 2 hours and 45 minutes. Someone in the city is murdered every 13 hours, and it's no secret who's doing the killing. There are more than 100,000 documented gang members in the Windy City, and the influx of plastic Glock switches has armed thousands of them with converted machine guns. The plastic switches attach easily to most Glock-type handguns, giving the weapon an incredibly high cyclic rate. The switches are sold openly on a few unscrupulous Chinese websites, and they're also very easy to 3D print. One recent viral video shows Chicago teens showing off their Glock switches, brazenly taunting police. Another video shows a young man spraying fully automatic fire into the crowd. It's from October 9th, 2023, this video. So those criminal scumbags have stuff that you and I can't because we're law-abiding. It's almost like, criminals don't obey laws. Funny how that works, right? Anyone who's ever tried to shoot the Glock 18, Glock's factory-made machine pistol, knows how difficult it is to control a full auto 9mm handgun, even for an experienced pistolier. In the hands of young gang members, a group not known for their accuracy or target discrimination, these converted Glocks are a recipe for mass casualties. To be clear, innocent lives are at risk. If anyone at ATF had even half a brain, you'd think it would flood the zone with special agents whose sole mission would be to rid Chicago streets of machine gun-toting gangsters. Unfortunately, the ATF has other plans and priorities. ATF Director Stephen Dettelbach announced this week his intent to ban legally owned semi-automatic rifles, which he called assault weapons. Dettelbach's comments came at a discussion called Gun Violence in America, which was held at Harvard University, of course. The president has also said, and I agree, that we should consider and reinstate a ban on certain types of assault weapons, Dettelbach said, adding he also supported the president's call for universal background checks. Dettelbach's comments conflict with his earlier testimony, which was given under oath before a Senate confirmation committee when he promised skeptical senators that he would not use his position to advocate for new gun regulations or laws. So, Stephen Dettelbach, instead of trying to do something productive, like put extra agents in Chicago to try to round up all of these illegal Glock switches that these children are brazenly and wantonly showing all over the place on social media. I'm pretty sure you could track them down, but he instead wants to strip you of your lawfully owned and lawfully used and not misused property. That's why Dennis Dettelbach is now a contestant on Moron of the Week. So let me put my poll up here as soon as I can add one. Let's see. Start a poll. Moron of the Week. That's the question. So, I'm ashamed that he's from Ohio. So there it is, folks. Who is the Moron of the Week? Moronic Mistel or Dense Dettelbach? Go ahead and get your opinions in there. Looks like, oh, hey, G-Webs. J-Webs says that it's worth trying Rumble. The audience there is interested in my POV. Cookie says, thanks for the hospitality. Enjoyed the stream, but need sleep. Hey, good night. You have it. Oh, gotta watch the Moron. Well, get your vote in there. Vote for Dettelbach or Mistel. What are the two? That bearded guy says goodbye to Cookie. And M. Gabriel comes in just in time for the Moron, as does Ozzy barking at the moon. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. We got 2 votes so far. Come on, man. We got 11 people in here. We need more votes than this. Moronic Mistel or Dense Dettelbach? G-Webs, I wonder, how could someone come up with such a thing? That's terrible to even think that someone would deliberately do that, right? G says it's almost like the small parts that convert pistols were poured into the streets in order to cause more violence with guns, so there would be something more to attack gun owners with. That's crazy talk. I'm sure you and your little pug are now both sitting in the van wearing tinfoil hats, aren't you? 3 votes. Mistel with 1 and Dettelbach with 2. Let's get some more votes in there, folks. That little poll right there in the chat, that's where you want to vote. Let your voice be heard. This is your chance to make sure that you sound off and let me know what you think. While you're at it, slap that thumbs up button for me, would you? Again, that kind of thing lets the YouTube algorithm know that this is content worth watching, and it really helps the channel and doesn't cost you a thing. And that's the best kind of stuff, free stuff, right? Still only got 3 votes. Where is the audience participation here? Well, I'm going to call it Dense Dettelbach. You are the Moron of the Week.
And there we had another tale of stupidity in this week's episode of Moron of the Week.
All right, folks, we've talked about our topics and we've picked our moron. Those of you that have been here before, you know what time it is. We got one more thing to do, and that is Roll Call 219's favorite favorite segment, self-defense shout-outs. For those who haven't been here, self-defense shout-outs are not where I'm reveling in the prospect that the bad guy won the room temperature challenge by taking a dirt nap. It's where I instead revel in the prospect that the good guy had the means, method, and opportunity to keep the bad guy from making him do that very thing. First up is this piece from the Fresno Bee. Domestic violence suspect shot after barging into Fresno home. Police say he crashed a car and ran. This is by Anthony Galavitz from November 5th. A fight between a motorist and his occupant that may have led to a vehicle crash ended Sunday with the driver being shot by a Fresno homeowner after he allegedly made his way into the home while trying to flee. The incident unfolded at 1:45 p.m. at North Island Water Park Drive near West Shaw Avenue. Fresno Police Lieutenant Sky Libby said officers assisted the Fresno County Sheriff's Office in a domestic violence incident while the vehicle was being driven. The sheriff's helicopter was overhead and was able to view the vehicle traveling southbound on Island Water Park Drive. Deputies attempted to catch up to the vehicle to investigate the complaint of domestic violence. No pursuit took place, Libby said, but deputies saw a cloud of dust in the area and noticed the crash. Deputies saw the vehicle disabled in the middle of the roadway after it struck with a parked vehicle. Deputies saw the alleged suspect, described as a man in his 50s, fleeing into a nearby home. There, he began fighting with the home's occupants. One of the residents pulled out a gun and fired on the suspect at least once. Libby said the suspect was taken to a hospital with an injury not considered life-threatening. Officers tracked down the original victim of the domestic violence complaint and interviewed her. Officers had set up a perimeter in the neighborhood after the wounded suspect refused to surrender. He was later taken into custody without incident. The suspect is expected to face several charges. The two occupants of the home where the suspect entered were not injured. That's how it's supposed to work, folks. That is exactly how it's supposed to work. Next up is this piece from 1011now.com. Douglas County attorney says Omaha weekend homicide was in self-defense. From November 7th. Omaha, Nebraska. Douglas County attorney Don Klein told 6 News Tuesday that a weekend homicide in northwest Omaha was determined to be a case of self-defense. Omaha police officers were called to a shooting in the area of 95th and Maple just before 3 a.m. Sunday. They found Khalif O'Neill, 24, suffering from a gunshot wound to his chest. He died after being taken to Nebraska Medicine. Klein tells 6 News O'Neill came to the house of a woman with whom he has a child, threatening to shoot her new boyfriend and bust out his car windows. Investigators said he entered the home with his gun out. The boyfriend took out his gun, and they apparently fired simultaneously. The shot fired at O'Neill killed him. Klein said the shooting was justified. Yeah, he played FAFO, and he lost. Guess you shouldn't barge into someone's home and, point guns. And last, but most certainly not least, is from NBCBayArea.com. Vallejo resident fatally shoots home invasion suspect. From November 6th. A Vallejo resident shot and killed a man who allegedly tried to break into his house Monday morning. The shooting happened at around 9:40 a.m. near Georgia and Monterey Streets. NBC Bay Area tried to speak with the resident, but he didn't want to talk about what happened. Neighbors said they heard a brief argument before at least one shot was fired. It's unclear where exactly the shooting took place. Police said the resident was cooperating with them. So there you have it, folks. Despite what the lamestream legacy media would have you believe, the good guys stop the bad guys using guns all the time. Tell me, folks, do me a favor, come back in the comments so I can look back at it and see what kind of response I'm getting. tell me, do you want to see more of these self-defense shout-outs during the week? Because I'm thinking of doing some as shorts and putting them out a couple times during the week. You know, the ones that I don't get to on the show, I think I might put out during the following week. So let me know. Do you want to see those or not? Let me know. So I want to thank everybody who was here for this, stayed with me through the technical diddlies that just seem to keep creeping into this thing. I appreciate it. As a matter of fact, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I mean, here I am after taking such a long hiatus, and you guys are still here, and you are welcoming back with open arms, and you enjoy listening to this show. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Speaking of how much things mean, make sure that you contact your Congress critters and elected representatives and let them know what you think about the skullduggery and evil plans that they have in store for you and your Second Amendment rights. Send them a snail mail, email, telephone, telegraph, carrier pigeon, bicycle messenger, smoke signals, heliograph, semaphore, tom-toms, bicycle messengers, anything that you have to do to let them know what you think, and never, ever, ever give up that fight. I'll see you guys on the next one.